just when you thought it was safe to get back into the water. Did it, did it, did it. We are here again, Mike and I, to talk Jesus first, politics second on the Sweet Jesus podcast. And my, have we had quite the week. We were talking about despair last time, and basically, like, you don't have enough despair. Well, yeah, you didn't. Because we had this past weekend and another assassination attempt and all of the politicking and talking head stuff that took place and is taking place right now after it. So we hope you are looking for some kind of guidance, some kind of sanity, some kind of spiritual encouragement and direction during what is increasingly becoming quite a crazy time. So here we are. And we are really, this whole thing, I think, is going to revolve around an idea that's pretty, if you ever go to counseling, if you ever have any kind of spiritual director or anybody who's giving you good, solid advice, they are always going to talk to you. They're going to talk about how you can change and how if you are different, things around you will be different, right? Like if you have a problem with a spouse or with a child or with a boss or a coworker or something like that, they're not going to try and plot to fix that person and make them fit you and what you're looking for. They're going to say, no, how are you going to handle this? How are you going to change? Right? So
I can hear everyone clicking off the video right that second.
Right that second. Well, yeah, we'll have to check. Is it 15 seconds in? But the thing about that is if it's all them out there that are the problem, then you are completely helpless. Right?
Yeah, you don't think about it that way. Like that's sort of like
totally
the
helpless.
fine print that you don't understand.
Because they will just continue to exert their will and pursue their goals and just run right over you. But if you change, if something about you changes that now they have to then react to, it actually, not only does it change you, it changes them as well. The very thing you were trying to do. So how can we change in order to effect change in the world around us?
But I'm not the problem.
Of course you are, Mike. It's all you, actually. That's really why I waited until we hit record to say, Mike, the president called, and he said, you're the problem.
I'm the problem.
Secret Service called, CNN called, and so did Fox News, and they all said, it's really Mike. No.
It's really Mike.
No, it comes back to that whole thing, which I've mentioned before, the G.K. Chesterton quote. He's an English writer from the end of the 19th, early 20th century, I believe. And there was this thing with a local paper. They're writing to all these important people, hey, what's wrong with the world? And they're thinking that if they can just get all these smart people and important people to say something, that they'll figure out what it actually is and they can do something about it. And he responded with basically 2 words. What's wrong with the world? I am. Full stop. Sent it in. Really anticlimactic, I'm sure, for the people that were organizing that effort. And, that it's not meant for us to carry the weight of the world or burden that is outsized and just impossible to carry. It's just to say that we are all sinful people. We are all looking out for our own interests. We are all very far from the way God originally intended us to be, the people he actually designed us to be. Part of that is willful, and part of that is even if we're just minding our own business, we are inclined toward that. And so it's like there's no third direction. There's no neutral. There's either, moving forward or moving backward. And the inclination is backward. So if we're not sort of pushing in the right direction, then we're always going to descend into the kinds of things that make the world the terrible place it often is. Not that it's always that. The world is a beautiful place. It's a good place. God is good. Praise the Lord. But so if you are feeling shaken, if you are feeling like you're on the brink of despair, like we talked about last week, good. You're finally close to where you need to be to get the truth here. But seriously, it is terrifying. The world is a far more dangerous, a far darker place than we often realize. But Christian hope does not depend on the stability of America or an administration. It doesn't depend on the decency or the fair play of our opponents or the safety of our favorite people, favorite leaders. Jesus, we're going to be celebrating the Ascension in just a few weeks, couple weeks maybe. Jesus is ascended. He is seated at the right hand of God the Father. He is ruling and reigning and bringing all things together for the good of those that love God, some way, somehow. He's doing that before this last crisis, even in the midst of this crisis, and also after this crisis. So hang on to that. But we've been feeding the fire, right? We've been not maybe actually doing the things that are being shown to us in the news. We're not actually the one storming this White House Correspondents' Dinner. But we've learned to speak as if the people that are our opponents are pests, demons, traitors, fascists, communists, groomers, Nazis, enemies of humanity. Sorry. And we can't do that incessantly without it eventually coming to its logical conclusion, which is like, well, if they're less than human and they're the problem, then why don't we just get rid of them? And we're all doing that. Maybe that stings, but it's the truth. And if we, as the people of God, can do our part to examine ourselves, to repent, to look in the mirror and see how we can change, I think we'd be amazed at just how much that actually changes the people around us. So I was pretty excited. I don't know, excited is maybe not the right word. I was very encouraged when Trump had that meme, looking like Jesus. And I don't know if you saw this, Mike, or if some of our liberal friends out there saw this, but I feel like there were a lot of Christians, conservative Christian leaders, that got all over him about it. There were some that defended it and were like, oh, well, he's just making fun of the Pope, or he's healing, or I don't know, whatever the heck all that nonsense was. But there were an awful lot of people that got up in his business and really just made a mess of, kind of made a stink out of it. So much so that he took it down. He never takes anything down. So I thought that was good. I think we need to see more of that. Because let's be honest, I mean, Trump has not been helping his case. Doesn't excuse anything. But I don't know. I've talked a lot. I don't know if you want to add anything. I got something that I can.
He's not our national pastor, So like, if he does something stupid, as long, of all the things he's done, that wasn't a super big deal to me, just because I know that he's kind of within the range of stuff he normally does.
Yeah.
But if you're not like following along a lot, like it's gonna seem like whoa.
Yeah.
Because I know my people in my family were pretty upset. But I also don't have a big problem with like using Jesus and art and making him part of the conversation and the ideas of our, so I don't know. That just wasn't, yeah, I don't know if you can help me out. I'm kind of digging myself into a hole here.
Well, I mean, using Jesus in art is one thing, but portraying yourself
Yeah.
as Jesus is another thing altogether. That's not quite the same thing. And certainly there are things that maybe are more important that people should complain about him. But I will say, you said if any people have not been paying attention, I think most people aren't, even his supporters sometimes, even his voters, because they just can't, because it's just so much all the time.
Yeah, it's a deluge.
Which I think is actually a strategy. I think it's also just sort of who he is. But
yeah.
But here's the thing that I think is lost in politics, almost always. And that is, and I know this personally from being in church and being a pastor, but I also think we have a great example in the civil rights movement, or at least how we have come to speak about it. I know there are some people that have been critical of Martin Luther King Jr. in some ways, but I think the one thing that he kind of got right was, civil disobedience, but essentially a pacifist civil disobedience, right? Like, we're going to break the laws that we think are bad, and we're going to let you deliver the consequences. We will accept those consequences, but we're going to make you film it live and show the world. Like, people are going to have to see this. And I think, that's something that we forget, that if no matter how bad your enemy is, if you let your enemy determine the rules of engagement, then you are no longer dealing with an enemy. You're dealing with an equal, essentially. Like, you're dealing with a foil, a mirrored thing. So, like, I've seen that in church work all the time. When you have a very problem type person, or alligator, sometimes they refer to them as, a lot of times they are really bad and they are doing really bad things. But the trouble is when you let them sort of get your goat, right? Like, they get their hooks into you and you get, and then you look like the jerk because, well, you're the pastor, and now they have something. Oh my goodness, I can't believe how this person look. Isn't he supposed to be this and that? And, so now they've got ammunition, right? Now, obviously, it's not the same thing, but hopefully you see the point. Like, the Bible says pastors are supposed to be above reproach. And I think Christians working out in the world in this political dialogue, like, we have to be above reproach if we expect to get anywhere, or else we're just in the mud pit with the pigs. Like,
that's what that verse is talking about. How can a salt be made salty if it's lost its flavor? Not good for anything except be thrown in the trash. Like, if people see us on Facebook being the same jerks as everybody else, like,
yep.
Yeah.
And I mean, not just that, but when what we typically do is we favor a side. And when we're critical of the other side constantly, I think we forget, or we lose the ability to see how we are not dealing with our own side. So I sent you a link earlier. I don't know if you got a chance to look at it. It was this like YouGov poll on political violence.
That was interesting. Yeah.
There's definitely more liberals that seem to be okay with political violence. That's why I looked it up, because I kept hearing like, oh, but no, look at how many more liberals like violence. When you look at the graphs, it is pretty scary, but it's not like overwhelming the way it often was being portrayed. And the really interesting thing I thought was that basically if something just happened to someone on your team, then you're really concerned about political violence.
Yes.
But if it happened to the other team, you're not all that concerned about political violence. And I think
what are you going to do?
And you know what? One of the things that people have said for a long time is, right-wing violence is basically all of the political violence. I think there's some really skewed statistics and some really messed up things they do with some of that data. But I think it's also generally true that, we've been living through a period of time where it generally was right-wing violence. And I think the fact that people on the left don't even realize, like they can't even see that there's a political violence problem on the left, I think that really hurts the conversation. And I know I'm probably not the person to say it because I tend to lean right. And so for me to go, oh, but the left, then I'm just getting into the, the little mudslinging stuff that happens. I'm not actually being helpful. My role would be to say, like, hey, Trump, when you posted that thing, after Rob Reiner and after Robert Mueller, and I mean, that doesn't help your cause. And that's what I was saying earlier. Like if he would have said, I mean, he could have still been Trump. Like he could have still said, well, that terrible human being would have said this if I died, but you know what? I'm going to say this instead. Like he could have still made it, very weirdly about him.
Yeah.
And then still said
he does this thing where he'll say like, well, people have accused him of this, and this, but I'm not saying that.
I mean, he could have done it like that and it would have landed way better. Like it wouldn't have come back as ammunition now.
Yeah. I mean, there is kind of a pastorally thing they have to do sometimes when there's like a national tragedy. Like I do wish he would get better at that part of the job.
Yeah.
Because there is certain times where just like everybody's feeling sad and then it's like there's some personal grievance that he's using this opportunity to. It's just like, come on, man.
Yeah.
But that's part of the deal.
And then his interviews afterward, the 60 Minutes thing. I don't know. You see that with Norah O'Donnell? I saw clips
I heard about it or something.
It's like, oh my goodness. Like, I'm not saying that he was necessarily wrong about everything, but it's just the way he is. Like he's literally sitting in front of someone and telling her she's disgusting. Yeah, like you're a pathetic human being. You know that? Like.
I saw him do that to the NBC lady, who's like, she looks like she's a little bit Middle Eastern or something, and like, I like her. Like most of corporate news is like corporate shills kind of thing.
Yeah.
But she seems like she actually tries to do a good job, and like I do have like some background in journalism, so it's like just at least what I studied in college. Like, so that really made me mad because like one, like she's a woman, two, she's a young woman at the start of her career. She's just doing her job, and then like he's making it personal.
Yeah.
So like when he does that, I don't like that.
Well, then there was Miss Piggy. There was the Miss Piggy comment. There's
with Megyn Kelly. Was that? There was something when she was like one of the moderators, and she asked him like a question or something.
Yeah, no,
that was something else.
That was how he started the first debate, where she went on this list about all these things that he said about women, and like, do you basically feel like? And he's like, I only said those things to Rosie O'Donnell. Everybody laughed.
That was funny.
And then that was it. It sealed the deal. He won, because he could take that attack and turn it into a plus. Like,
see, that was good. That was good. Like, I wish he does do that. So I wish he could do that more. Yeah, he should do that more.
But
that's kind of like from the Ronald Reagan textbook, where you kind of make a joke and get everybody back on your side kind of thing.
Well, it is, but I mean, I'm not sure we put him and Ronald Reagan in the same category. Ronald Reagan was a polished, actor, like in a classic sense. This is
right.
No, but the Miss Piggy, he literally called a reporter, I think, Miss Piggy, to her face, like on Air Force One or something. There's a clip of it somewhere out there.
I mean, he would. I mean, part of this is he came up in professional wrestling, so it's like that's part of like the idea of wrestling is like you have a villain, and the problem is like if people take this stuff serious, like he's actually really the president. So he has real power. People, really will do stuff based on what he says. So
it's not good. It's not good. But the thing that is we're talking about this from the Trump side, right? That hey, Trump, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot every time you go after people for political violence and the rhetoric and everything. You use things that are almost as bad or worse. I think that is also why the left has absolutely zero credibility when it comes to this. I mean, they defend their side incessantly as well. You've got an attorney general in Virginia that literally said he wanted to basically not just, murder a Republican, but that he wanted to do it, take the lives of the person's kids also, and do vile things.
That was weird.
And then you got the current governor who just basically wouldn't denounce that, let alone ask the guy to get out of the race, right? So, and then you got all that crazy redistricting stuff that's going on out there. I mean, it's all over the place, and that's just one example. I mean, personally, as a person on the right, I have always felt more vulnerable, I guess, than I felt like I was on a team that was going to perpetuate violence. Because growing up maybe in a blue state, public school system in a blue state, public university in a blue state, and just universities in general just went off the rails blue. I mean, I don't think this happens when a very liberal person shows up. When right-leaning people show up on a college campus, it is absolute mayhem. Absolute mayhem. And so, they cancel things all the time because of that. What happened to Charlie Kirk? I mean, it was on a college campus. This is now the third time at least for Trump. You take the words of Donald Trump and, they're dehumanizing. You take the words of some of the leaders on the left. I mean, they literally say, you have to storm the streets and you have to ratchet it up. And it's, Hakeem Jeffries has got a quote now that's running around. It's basically we have to be violent all the time. I'm paraphrasing, but that's we have to just not ever stop.
In his defense, he is an idiot.
Oh, he's absolutely an idiot. I heard, I keep seeing this thing now, they don't get the smart people for Congress, they get the dumb people. It's our, we need to do something about this. I'm like, no, that's the point. They want dumb people that will just do what they're told, right? Whoever's working behind the scenes.
Right.
So
they don't even write stuff a lot of times. The corporate guys send them, just copy paste this into your stuff.
Yeah. People that think for themselves and have a spine are dangerous. And I know this, not just politics, it's church too. If you're not towing the line, keeping things, we only talk about these things, we don't talk about those things. Or if we do, we only do it in this weird roundabout way, which I'm not very good at. Roundabout, I guess I am on certain things, but eventually when the rubber meets the road, you got to be like, hey, it's this, right? Do we have to play around anymore? I mean, really?
That's My favorite show is House, and like that was his thing. Is like he would always make some kind of joke or something to like bring it out into the open, embarrass everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, sometimes, dealing with the patient, lack of bedside manner, but he gets at a solution, right? I mean,
Right.
like, you can't fight what you don't know is there, which is,
Right.
again, the bigger problem, I think, on the left is they don't believe it's there. I think they see themselves as living in, the legacy of the civil rights movement, but the tactics of Martin Luther King Jr. have long since gone by the wayside. They do
Yeah,
not
those
exist.
those took a lot of discipline and courage and patience and endurance, and
Yeah.
those things are in very short supply in a
And
modern life.
faith in Jesus, I think.
Yes, yeah, that's part of it.
Which I think is really where we got to go with this is, what is it that ultimately dethrones an idol? It's got to be something else. It's got to be something that captures your attention more, that captivates you in a way that whatever the idol was before can't compete with anymore. And, nature abhors a vacuum, right? So, like, you can't just try to dethrone the idol. Which politics is really the idol, or America,
Yeah.
or just
Yeah.
feeling like you have this extended amount of power and authority to
Yeah.
shape the
Being
world.
being seen as a good person.
Being seen as a good person. Yeah, all of these things, those are the idols. And if we get rid of that, that's one thing, but we'll just fill it with something else. I mean, there's the standard sex, drugs, and rock and roll. There's, money. There's 1,000 other things that we can put in its place. So we got to replace it with something else that is not also going to destroy us. And so I think it's incumbent upon us as Christians, if you're a Christian watching this, right, we got to do this repentance thing. We got to recognize the idol that's at play and return to the Lord, and confess our sins, receive the forgiveness, the grace, the mercy of Christ, and live in the life that he gives us, right? But if we're thinking about people that maybe aren't Christian, the first thing that we need to do, we need to consider, how do we actually get them back to this core foundation that is the only thing that has the ability, the only one who has the ability to really transform hearts. We got to be about the mission, which, by the way, shameless plug, there's a book, Open Arms, Connecting People to Jesus, on how to reach people. Yeah, let's see how many we get, people. Come on, let's go.
Wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. Yeah, no. I think we lose sight of that, and we get so caught up in really the mission of the Republican Party, or the mission of the Democrat Party, or the mission of America, or socialism, or America First, socialism. I don't know, what other things can we throw out there. We're caught up in those missions that we lose sight of the mission. Because maybe we can affect a little bit of change by getting a policy change, or a person elected, or something like that. But I think what we're seeing is that for a really long time now, we have, particularly Christians in America, have been so obsessed about these other missions, or blurring them as if they are one and the same with this mission, that this mission has just been so forgotten and so neglected, and we've just pissed off so many people that don't even want to know about Jesus, that we're seeing the effects of that. I really do think that a lack of foundation in Christ is what's behind all of this. We're seeing a lack of foundation in Christians, and then all the people that have basically walked away or sort of come up behind. The Christians that have come and gone have raised up people behind them that were not actually Christians. So they didn't come out of that worldview. Even if they ultimately rejected it later, they then raised up people that never got exposed to it and were never able to bring that.
They forget why they, it's like the joke, like why do we put this pan in the oven when we make this bread or whatever? And it's only 8-inch thing, and this pan is 10, but we only use 8. And like nobody even knows anymore. It's just because grandma did it that way, but she never, that's the only pan she had. But everybody else is like, well, this is that, you have to do it, So it's like,
yeah.
We're just going through the motions of things. Like that. I was talking to my friend about that the other day, like with the liturgy, like where sometimes like maybe people are doing certain things. They don't even know what they mean. It's just, it's kind of rote, and I like the liturgy. I think the liturgy is awesome, but like you have to understand what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I have a congregation that has not been really steeped in liturgy, so we do a liturgy. Everybody has a liturgy. I try to keep good chunks of what would be traditional liturgy, but I introduce it almost every time, and I'm like explaining it, why I'm doing it each time.
Yeah.
So
because it's not part of the modern world.
No.
So it's like if you want people to come in, you're like, you got to explain what you're doing.
That's right. So the Christian response to political violence is not our side was right, your side was wrong. That's and there's Christians on both sides. We've talked about this before, right? I mean, there are no non-Christian nationalist Christians. All the Christians are. And except for maybe the Amish and the Mennonites, depending on
Yeah, I think the Quakers.
Well,
like they're pacifists, I guess. Yeah.
So everyone else is a Christian nationalist. Even if they're not a Christian, they're a Christian nationalist because they are building on a foundation that was laid by Jesus and the followers of Jesus, not anything that came from anywhere else. So,
if you look at the ascension, like in the first chapter Acts, like right when Jesus is gonna like peace out, Peter is like, okay, so now you're gonna kill the Romans, right?
Yep. I mean, he doesn't use those words, but I do think that is definitely the implication, right? At this time, are you going to restore the kingdom to Israel? It's not for you to know times or seasons. When are we going to get to killing? Well, but interestingly enough, Jesus does not say, "What are you, stupid?"
It's like when you're a kid, it's like 8-9 o'clock at night. I want ice cream. Okay, well, you're going to be brushing your teeth now, so go along there. Get on down to the bathroom. He doesn't answer it. He just, Nobody knows.
He doesn't answer it, but he does say, it's not for you to know times or seasons.
Yeah, it's above your pay grade, dingus.
Well, but I don't think he precludes the possibility. Not that it will look like what Peter thinks, but that ultimately Jesus is coming back, and there is a moment at which time he will overthrow the kingdoms of the world and assume the role that he has, that he's destined for, right? That there will be Christian worldism. It's not even nationalism. Like ultimately, Jesus is going to rule, and it's going to be the way He wants it, and it's not going to be.
I don't think it's going to look like what either the left or the right wants.
I don't think it could possibly look like anything anyone wants, because we're all.
It's going to be like, what the heck? Like,
I mean, look at Isaiah 55. Come and buy and eat without price. Like. But at the same time, it'll work because it's not communism. Because communism doesn't work.
Well, I mean, communism would work if we didn't have original sin.
Well, exactly. That's the point, right? So ultimately, Jesus is the pinnacle of benevolent dictatorship, which we all know is really the only and most efficient form of government. Like, otherwise, nothing works. You need a benevolent dictator, somebody who actually cares and who will do the right thing for people just to do the right thing. That's the only. Otherwise, you get like, you get good people, but they're not tough enough to really.
Well, like if you fix everybody's selfishness problem, you don't really need a government.
And there's that. Yeah.
It will self-form and run on its own without breaking down every 2 seconds. People can like, how does this affect you?
That's a great point. And whether you're rich or poor, that's the wrong response. Right? It's not like there's a passage in Leviticus somewhere. I think it's like right around the spot where there's this, love your neighbor as yourself thing that people are always, on the left at least, are quick to point to. And I'm like, well, if you just go a little bit further or go a little bit back up, it says you shall not
those are always funny.
Favor the rich or the poor.
Oh, yeah, I like that verse. Yeah, that verse is really cool.
It's like truth matters. Truth is paramount. And when you have a breakdown in truth, everything crumbles.
Once people start gaming the system, then everybody starts doing it, and then it just gets more and more violent.
Yeah, it's not good. Not good at all. So maybe you think Luigi Mangione or something, is that the guy with the United Healthcare?
Yeah.
Maybe you think that was such a great thing. Maybe you're Hassan Piker and you're like, oh, this is reason why. I mean, look at all the people he's killing because of what he does, and so this is okay. You're like, no, it's not. And then you get the justification for the whole October 7th thing out of him also. And many others. But
yeah. I mean, I don't like that Hassan went to communism, like went to China and was like, this place is awesome. Because like one thing I know, like I was listening to like NPR and they said like they have rappers in China, but in order to put out their rap CD, they have to submit it to a government board of rap CDs. That is the antithesis of artistic expression.
Yeah.
Like that is like that.
People on the right are like, personal responsibility. Just get your act together. Get a job. It's your fault that you're in poverty.
I mean, there's like systemic things, but it's like we all agree on a lot of that stuff.
But it's not that simple. And then the other side is like, well, if we could just fix the systemic things, then these people would be fine.
Right.
They're perfectly normal, just like everybody else. And then you give them money and they screw it up royally, like, or they take advantage of it. So it's like there's no utopia. So what's the right reaction to a moment like what we've got, or whether it's these issues or the White House Correspondents' Dinner thing now, the violence. The initial response is, Lord have mercy, come Lord Jesus. Like that should be the first response. It should not be, well, here's why, these idiots over here are doing everything wrong. And then it should be, hey, how can I tell someone about Jesus? How can I tell someone about the hope?
Oh, like that's ever going to come up.
That I have. It
That's what
can.
I mean. It's like as long as they just keep our brain filled of like we have to hate these people, we have to hate these people, we
It
have to like you never talk about Jesus or anything important, your family or your
I
kids or
well, yeah, but I mean, I think it can come up. I think it does come up, particularly when, again, this is back to like, you want to change the world, change yourself. If people look at you and go, not you necessarily you, Mike,
yeah,
anyone. If someone
right,
is watching, you're a Christian, and somebody looks at you and goes, how is it that they're not obsessed with the news? How is it that they're not freaking out about all these things that are going on? How is it that they continue to be kind and, the fruits of the Spirit, right? Love, joy, peace, patience,
yeah,
kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. How is it that they appear to be sane in an insane world? I might want to know more about that, right? I mean,
yeah,
that is ultimately what I think. That's kind of what's going on in the book here is that, you got to be in relationship with people and close enough that they can observe those things, and then basically kind of hang around until they ask. Like if you're not there enough, then they're not going to ask. And, you don't only
yeah,
wait for them to ask. Sometimes you say it. Sometimes you just see the opportunity and say, you know what? That's why
yeah,
I'm glad I got Jesus. I actually have started saying that more often, being a little bit more like I'm going to insert it because it's an appropriate moment.
yeah,
So,
right. Yeah, there's something to being like it's like when people wear like at a concert and they have like those t-shirts on that say staff, like like you can go to them if something's wrong.
yeah,
Like if people know like I'm a Christian and if you want to talk to me about it, I'm available. Like I think people will talk to you.
yeah. And just, if you're just there in the moment and you're all watching the events unfold and your response is, Lord have mercy, come Lord Jesus. I think that says something if that's your first thought
Yeah.
that, um,
I think people get stuck in that they have certain ideas of like what Christianity means. And then they look at like what's kind of going on the other side and be like, well, that's obviously against what Christianity is about. How could they be a Christian? And then there's no way somebody could be on that other party and be a Christian. Like,
mm,
it's like if you ever talk to one of them, you would see that this is what's important to them. That's why it's important. And this follows from this. And you have to get in their headspace and then it makes some kind of sense. Like you might not agree with it,
yeah.
but they're not crazy.
Well, at least not any more crazy than you are. Right?
Yeah, because it's like well, like what what the other side believes has is not irrational. And based on what based on the chips or the blocks that they're working with in their little stack, they fit together.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have any kind of like influence on them, you can't just like try to knock the whole thing down because it's like
Yeah.
you're not just knock down my whole thing.
It's this Tim Keller was great at this, that he would try to understand the person and their worldview and their values and their all these different things, and then work from within that worldview to
Yeah,
prove Christianity. Not to say, oh, you're an idiot. Let me tell you what it's really like. But like, okay, so you care about
yeah,
this. Why do you care about this? Like he could do it that
right.
way where you're just like, well, you realize it doesn't make any sense with the other stuff that you believe, right? It only makes sense with Jesus. And he could do that with people living in very liberal areas. He could actually get at that because they have this, the cognitive dissonance that is necessary for them to reject Jesus, reject religion altogether, and yet have these very high moral standards and care and compassion for the poor and all this other kind of stuff. Now on the right, you've got this love for people and, life, right, with
Yeah.
the abortion issue. And yet
Yeah.
it's a fair criticism that there is not enough care for people after that point. I think you can legitimately say that the government is the least effective way to do this. I think you can say that. You can believe that. But then let's make sure we're doing so much outside
Yeah.
of that no one would ever dare throw out the accusation that you don't care about people after birth, because or like in a way that even if someone
Didn't you
does
say
throw
like the
that.
early Christians, like they would go pick up the aborted babies and adopt them and stuff like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
There was I actually when I was in seminary, they had this pro-life group, and there was a pastor that tried to encourage one of the professors there. He tried to encourage people to participate in this. I went at least once, maybe a couple of times, maybe more, and all it was that you would basically stand outside and pray. Like you didn't really do anything else other than that. So it wasn't meant to be very confrontational or anything like that. But there was a woman there. She was Catholic, and I believe she was Catholic. Very, very pro-life and very, very passionate. And she would like she would stand by where they were driving and like, please let me adopt your child. And then she had this picture in her wallet, like not a wallet, but like on a keychain wallet with pictures, and she had this, it was a very diverse photo of all the kids basically that she adopted standing outside this abortion center. Or maybe not just that one, but that's the kind of thing that I think inspires people, and it undermines the criticisms, right?
Yeah.
So
I do think like just from a branding perspective, like a bunch of people outside any place with signs and yelling and being scary, like like the person that feels like they need to do that, like yeah, I mean, it seems like it'd almost be more effective to have like two or three church ladies with like lemonade or something and like, do you want a hug? I know this is scary. You want to talk about it? Maybe the defenses would come down a little bit.
yeah, I mean, I don't think we didn't have like signs or yelling and screaming or anything like that, but
Yeah.
it was just meant to be prayerful.
Yeah. I'm just more talking about like what you typically think of when,
Yeah.
because
It's
I mean, I have driven by places in Hagerstown where they are doing that, and it's just like, if there is a girl trying to come there, like you're just gonna scare her. Like
yeah.
it's she's not gonna listen to you.
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, we're on abortion now. I don't know how we got off of that. This is us both with ADHD and
Yeah.
squirrels, and but there was. I did a sermon one time on this, like for Life Sunday, and I mean, I do believe that God is, pro-life in a sense, not in a political sense, but in a
Yeah.
like I think He doesn't
That's the
want
goal.
us to kill babies in the womb. I think that's what they are. I think that it harms women to do that, and I think if they knew how much it harmed them, they might not do it. They're making a choice based on false information most of the time, I think. Out of people who think they're doing this really good thing by giving this woman a chance, young woman, young girl, whatever. And I don't think it works out that way, the way they think, the way they try to portray it. But what I discovered was that the bulk of abortions is
Yeah.
actually had by, Christians, people from Christian families. Now, I forget the details on the breakdown of that.
Yeah. And
Like
I've
are
heard
they?
it's usually like women that are older that already have kids and they are working two jobs or something, and they literally don't know how they're gonna make it if they have another kid.
Well, it might be that. I was thinking more along the lines of like, is this like liberal Christians or conservative evangelical
Yeah.
Christians? But it's Christians. And what if like a Christian young women too? So what if we made it so that our daughters and our wives and our sisters, we just made it so that it would be unthinkable in the sense that they don't feel this pressure, like they've got this thing that is scandalous, right? So if it's a teen pregnancy or something like that, that they need to cover it up, which I think is more the stereotypical. Whether or not that's the bulk of these, I don't know for sure. But what if there's a young woman who just knows that her family is with her and's got her back and is not going to, just
Right.
berate her and shame her for this, but is going to walk alongside her? What if we made it so that, you know what, you're at the very least, you're our sister in Christ here, and I know you think that your life is over at this point and you're not going to be able to finish college, and you're not going to be able to get a career, and you're not going to be able to all these other things, but you know what, we are with you. We got your back, right? All these things that we are creating in many cases the environment that is pressuring women to feel like this is their only option.
Perhaps it would make them feel a little more comfortable if we just published the browser history of all the elders in the church and put that on the bulletin board.
There's another squirrel. So there's a guy in town here. He leads a ministry on, basically sexual integrity. I think that's what you're talking about, right? And the statistics of pastors, elders, church leaders, church goers at all is like really, really high uses of pornography.
Yeah. I think it's part of it is connected to like our whole, like we're just so obsessed with it in so many different ways. And it just comes out like that. I mean, it's something I've struggled with my whole life, and it's one of those things that the bigger deal you make of it, even in trying to fix it, it actually makes it worse.
Yeah.
So it's the counterintuitive idea of, how do you fix the human heart? It's like we have to be satisfied in Jesus, or we're just going to run into some other kind of trouble.
Yeah. Well, and we are satisfied in Jesus. I mean, if we will allow ourselves to be, really, is what it is. Like, if we will stop fighting it, if we will stop resisting, stop being stubborn, rebellious, what does Stephen say? You stubborn, stiff-necked people.
Oh,
constantly
always resist the Holy Spirit.
Something like that. Yeah.
But we're confident of better things for you.
So
yeah, he's always he's always done a good job of running me down and knocking me off my horse. So
yeah, well, that's Lutheran theology. It's like we got nothing. Like, we bring nothing. Yeah. We can't. I cannot by my own reason or strength come to Jesus Christ, my Lord. I believe in Jesus Christ,
or believe in Him.
Come to Him. But the Holy Spirit has called me by the gospel, right? So, like,
yeah, and it lists all like 7 or 8 things.
It's the Word of God, but particularly the gospel, right? It's the Romans 1:16. For I am not ashamed of the gospel, for the gospel, is the power of God. It's not the law.
Yeah.
Right? It's the gospel, the good news. Now, there is some bad news that makes the good news good news. And so all of that is kind of wrapped together, but it's the good news. That is that's ultimately what I think transforms people. And, we're just so far from it, and left or right, Christians do not sound like good news people. I don't care what you think you're doing by like, oh yes, the compassion and concern for the poor. Yeah, you still sound like an idiot. You sound like as much of an idiot as all the people you're thinking about on the right. that look like idiots for whatever their beliefs are.
It's just depressing, man.
Despair. Here we are. Success. We did it. We brought Mike back to despair.
It's yeah. Like I've been to stuff like I went to like a couple No Kings, and I went to like ICE protests and stuff, and just it's just don't be a Nazi. Don't be a nasty putz.
But it's so easy, Mike. It's so easy. What are you trying to say?
I mean, a lot of these guys that are working. I kind of
like being a nasty putz sometimes.
A lot of these guys that are working for ICE are really like poor, and like they need the money. And once you sign on, you get like this big bonus. But then if you quit, you have to pay it back. So they're kind of like, they're a little bit like slaves. I mean, I know they signed up for that, but like, it's kind of like the Running Man, or like one of those like dystopian future things.
Yeah.
Like that's probably the best job they could get. And a lot of them are like not white. So like you hating them, like you hating them.
And who are all the protesters?
You're just a
white
freaking
people.
Idiot.
They're like old white people.
Yes. Just watch Eddington, and just watch Eddington and be quiet.
I'm halfway through. I'm a little clueless, but I figure I'm about only halfway through, a little more than halfway through. So I'm totally confused. But the whole town goes nuts during COVID. Well, I'm starting to see that. And honestly, when I first turned it on, I only got like, it was late at night, and I was like, oh, wait, Mike told me to watch this. And I turned it on, and I could only get 10 or 15 minutes and before I had to go to bed. And I was like, I am so triggered right now. I have no idea. Like, wow, yeah, COVID really did mess me up, I guess. I don't want to live in this time again. And I didn't watch it anymore for like a week. And then I watched some more, and then, I've gotten to where I'm at, but I'm like, yeah, I don't like this at all. Like, this is what I was feeling back then. And I wasn't even in the position this guy's in, the main character guy.
The guy who made the movie, Ari Aster, he's like a liberal, which I think is what I am. But he went and interviewed like a lot of sheriffs where the movie is, and just talked to them. And he wrote the movie, and he filmed the movie from their perspective. So like when I was watching it, like the first time, like most of the people watching it didn't get it, or like thought like it was like red state propaganda or something. And like I was like laughing my butt off, because I was just like, yes, this is exactly, yes. It was like basically if you had like Saturday Night Live, but they weren't always just making fun of Republican people.
Who, by the way, were more right about this than not. Like,
yes, that's true.
So
the movie gets into that. The movie gets into that because like the mayor's son, Pedro Pascal's son, he's like, I want to go to a party with my friends. He's like a teenage boy. Mm-hmm. And Pedro Pascal's like, I can't let you do that. I'm the mayor of the town. And he's like, well, if you don't let me do it, like we're all going to have, like he mentioned like hurting himself or something, but there's like, yeah, there's like real costs to mental health. Like you can't just like negate that. Like germs are not the only thing in the world that's real.
Yeah. Locking people up for like 2 years in some places, at least 2 years, right? That was nuts. The whole thing. Yeah. It's crazy. And
we still haven't recovered from it.
No.
Because it sent like a pendulum started.
Mental health. And, there's this thing that goes around in right-leaning circles, at least, about, basically left-leaning people are much more likely to suffer from mental health problems. And, you know, I will add this caveat that most right-leaning people wouldn't go to therapy, so they wouldn't know if they had a mental health problem. You know, like I think there's that, but
I think there's some truth to that, only in as far as that conservative people might be more social unless they live like because I know there's a big problem of like farmers and like guys with guns like live in these like really barren like red states where they get depressed and like they have financial problems and stuff. But like conservative people, like they have friends, they do stuff together, they like go out to a baseball game. They meet girls and try to fool around. Like if you only believe in evolution and you put group A who does not believe in men or does not believe in having babies, and you put group B who does believe in men and does believe in having babies, and run that out a couple hundred years, which one do you think's going to win? Just purely on evolution, not ideology, just evolution.
Survival of the fittest. Yes, right, exactly. So,
having babies.
So
having a community, having some kind of social structure and hierarchy and connectedness to your fellow, that's where we get all these insults from. It's just like, oh God.
Yeah. So while we're on this, just for a second, if I see something that shows people going to like a Trump rally or a Kamala rally and really enjoying the Trump rally and the people there unexpectedly so, and then going to like a Kamala rally and being like, wow, these people are like mean and nasty. Is that right-wing propaganda, or is that something that actually happens? Because I know for sure one case of a person, I can tell you who, but like people that were sort of on the fence or specifically like black. Yeah,
I've heard like Trump rallies are like the Trump rallies, like he'll say like some controversial stuff or some mean stuff, and then that'll get on TV, but then like the whole rest of it is him just kind of like talking about his kids or like making jokes about stuff.
Well, I'm talking more about the people, right?
Yeah, so, yeah. I'm just saying like Trump is a lot more like Martin Luther, like where he's just like, I'm not perfect, and if you want to roll with me, that's cool.
If not,
and we're gonna have some fun.
Yourself.
Yeah, just you're dead to me. I hate you.
Or like the Martin Luther.
I wish he wouldn't do that.
The Martin Luther insult
Kamala
generator. Right. There's a Martin Luther insult generator out there. You can keep going.
Yeah, but like he doesn't have the weight of we are a moral movement that is going to reform morality in America. Like that never ends well. Like that was prohibition. It's there's a phrase that like the left is always looking for traitors and the right is always looking for converts.
Yeah. So the reason I brought that up was just going down this mental health thing and then thinking about what COVID really did to so many people and their mental health and everything, and how the bluest places were the places that had to suffer the most for the longest. And, that's got to be one of the effects of what we're dealing with right now.
Yeah.
It's got to be. It doesn't make the right.
Well, part of it, it's. I think it's a lot of dehumanization and lack of trust. So, like, they don't even really know who Trump is. They just see like a version of him on TV. Like they never listen to anything he says beyond like a soundbite. So it's like,
and that's one of the funniest rage bait things, right-wing propaganda stuff where people go around and they talk to these liberals at liberal protests or liberal whatever, and they're like, so you're tolerant of everybody except Me? Like, and it's funny to watch them justify their their lack of tolerance for intolerance, and their lack of compassion for other, like, and that's again where if you're a Christian and you're participating in that, you don't get to hide behind, well, yeah, but we're feeding the poor or something. Like, just like people on the right don't get to hide behind, oh, but we're saving babies, and so therefore we don't have to do all this other stuff.
Like, just don't be an idiot.
I honestly just don't post anything on social media about politics that doesn't call everyone an idiot. Like, if you call everyone an idiot, fine, good. But it's just so exhausting. Like,
just eat a hamburger and watch a baseball game and talk to a friend if you have one in real life.
Yes. The guy I mentioned, there's one guy I know for sure that went to a Trump and Kamala Harris a rally back in 2024. He was on the fence, and he's black, and he came out like basically like, these people are awesome. Like, I think he met a girlfriend, maybe he's a fiance now or something, at the Trump rally. There was some, I don't know, he doesn't like talk about it in each of his videos, but there was like, if you go back a year or two, you'll see like, oh, well, he met this girl and then they were dating, and oh, it's like a year later where he does a video about it or something. But he's like, yeah, the Kamala Harris rally was not, it's just not good. And then there's other people that do all this stuff. Anyway, he had a video after the assassination, and he said, I didn't start talking about politics until Butler, when Trump was shot in the ear. He said, now it's almost 2 years later, and here I am talking about another assassination attempt. And he's like, I'm exhausted by trying to keep up with this news cycle and keep up with all of these things and trying to parse them. Like, that's what he does. He's pretty good about calling out Trump, but also creating a better picture of the truth that is definitely not coming from the left, and it's definitely not coming from the right more and more. And he puts it together, and he's sitting there just like, I'm exhausted. I can't do this. In fact, I think I'm going to stop. I'm going to start talking about some other stuff. And, that's how can we continue to go down this path with all these different things? Like, we got to check out somehow. We got to spend time with Jesus, spend time in the Word, go to worship, turn off the notifications.
Yeah, like, get the newspaper for your town and go to like city hall, city council meetings and stuff like that. Like, there's stuff you can do in your town. Like, your town needs you.
Yeah.
Like, all this, like, you yelling at your TV isn't helping anyone.
Doesn't help a single person. They want you to believe far more in the power of your vote than in the power of your voice and your hands and your feet. Your vote is only one small piece of what it means to be an American. In fact, I think the greatest blessing or characteristic of the American form of government is that we get to be hands-on. Like, the government is intended to be small and sort of useless and incompetent because it's not something that you want to give to the government. You almost never want to give the government the job because they will screw it up royally, and it will become power plays, and it will become exactly what we're seeing. But if you just get out and serve your neighbor and do it, man.
Like, I don't know anything that's going on in my state house. I don't know who my county commissioners are. I don't know who the mayor is. All I know is stuff about Trump. And I know like maybe 10, 15 senators and representatives of the House from both sides. And then that's all I know. So it's like, I'm 57 years old. And so it's like, it's really lame. Like, I haven't accomplished any anything to help any like. And I had like 6 months from like ranting on Facebook and stuff like that, and I'm just making people mad. And so it's like there's a responsibility that comes with being a citizen, and like if everybody doesn't do it, like that's what we have now.
Yes.
There's that show, The Middle, with Frankie from the lady from the Ray Romano, Everybody Loves Raymond. And
Heaton, right? Patricia Heaton.
Yeah, Patricia Heaton. And like there was an episode where their son, who's a teenager, he was like delivering the paper or something. Or like they were supposed to vote that night in like a city council thing, and then the kid looks at his parents, is like, "You're literally what's wrong with America." And they looked at each other and they're like, maybe he's right. And then their little boy, who has autism, Brick, like he signed up to deliver papers, and then they went to the paper and it was like Ed Asner was the editor, and they're like, "Sir, like we really just can't do this. Like our son is autistic and he can't do this on his own, and we really can't. And it's just a local paper." And he's like, just a local paper. Okay. And he's like, "So who's going to report on your city council? And who's going to report on what your state house is doing? Who's going to report on any kind of corruption that's going on in the police department?" Guess you don't care about any of those kind of things. And they're like, "Okay, we'll keep doing it." We love to talk. We love to shoot off our mouth and act like we know what we're talking about. And I'm this and I'm that, and you're this and you're that. And we don't do anything.
That is, freedom of speech. So we live it to the fullest. All talk, no action. But we don't just have freedom of speech. We have freedom of the press. We have freedom of, freedom to assemble, freedom of religion, right? To exercise.
Freedom of the press. Read it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's, yeah. You're concerned about all this stuff. Go do something. And it's really a lot easier to do than you think in most places. I mean, I know personally, like if I walked up to them and, I could say, "Hey, so-and-so," and like by their first name, and they would know who I am. There's, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 in the county, which we don't call them counties here, they're parish. And in the city, I'd say at least 4, probably more, including the mayor, would be 5. It's a lot easier to do than you think. I may get a little bit more access as a pastor.
And like you'll make actual friends.
Yeah, they're nice.
Like you'll exist in real life apart from your house.
Yeah. I mean, one of the lives down the street from my house, so I walk past his house all the time. "Hey, how's it going, Kenny?" I mean, he's a decent guy, They're all generally decent people.
I think it talks in Romans or somewhere where he says like these people like are working for you and they're serving the Lord, and you should be nice to them.
Not quite like that, but yeah, let's see. It's Romans 12 and/or 13, I think.
Yeah, it's like he basically talks about being a civil servant and like don't be jerks to these people.
And think about how difficult it's got to be to do this, because I can tell you, just looking at the local level, there are some pretty fired up people that they got to deal with. Like, it's not as if all of this is happening on the national scale and it's not trickling down somehow. Yeah,
it trickles down.
So, I mean, I could run for city council. Like I'm just a normal kind of guy. You could probably run for city council or something. So just imagine like an average person trying to do this job. They're not getting paid. I mean, not much usually. not enough to do a full-time gig. They still got to do whatever else they got to do, or are retired
Yeah,
or whatever.
it's like it's under 40,000 usually.
Yeah, it's not as much as you might think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this Romans 13. Let every person
Yeah,
be
the thing,
subject to the
yeah.
governing authorities, for there's no authority except from God. People throw this around a lot. And those that exist have been instituted by God. Therefore, whoever resists the authorities resists what God has appointed, and those who resist will incur judgment. Wow. Does that mean we have to scrape the resist bumper stickers off of our cars?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Honor your father and mother, that your life will be long in the land of the Lord your God has given you. Like that's the problem with the No Kings rally is if you can't, if you're dishonoring your leaders, no one will listen to you from the other side. If you have contempt and you're just wanting to like throw crap against the wall and whip your whatever around, you're not going to be an effective, and that's all it is. So it's like, let's get real. We're adults. We have real problems. Like this stuff is not.
There's far more effective ways to go about achieving your goals. Yeah.
No one's going to listen to you.
So, I mean, and then Trump goes on his little tirade with the 60 Minutes interview about no kings, like.
Yeah.
So, verse 3.
Yeah.
For rulers are not a terror to good conduct, but to bad. Would you have no fear of the one who is in authority? Then do what is good, and you will receive his approval, for he is God's servant for your good. But if you do wrong, be afraid, for he does not bear the sword in vain. For he is the servant of God, an avenger who carries out God's wrath on the wrongdoer. Therefore, one must be in subjection, not only to avoid God's wrath, but also for the sake of conscience. For because of this you also pay taxes, for the authorities are ministers of God, attending to this very thing. Pay to all what is owed to them, taxes to whom taxes are owed, revenue to whom revenue is owed, respect to whom respect is owed, honor to whom honor is owed. Owe no one anything except to love each other, for the one who loves another has fulfilled the law. So, yeah, it's
just like, what are we doing?
Have you ever walked up to a member of the county board of whatever, or for us, the parish council? Ever been to your city council meeting and just said, "Hey, you know what? Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing what you do, and we can't keep going without you." So.
Yeah, and then people are always like, "Well, they're corrupt." Well, yeah, so are you.
Well, and if you're there, maybe they'll be less corrupt. Like if you're paying attention,
This is hitting home for me. This is hitting home for me because they're building an ice facility like a couple miles away from where I'm sitting, and the main way that people that are not really thrilled about that have to try to like do something about it is through our county commissioners and city council and blah blah blah. And because I've been looking at my TV for the last 12 years going, that Trump guy, he sure is a big bad guy. I wish we could do something about it. And like sitting on my butt. Now when like something's happening that I really think we should do something about, I don't know who to even talk to. Like I'm
yeah.
So I'm like completely ineffective, like completely like a non-participant in the game. Like he didn't even show up. He wasn't even on the bench. Like he was like 30 minutes away and the game's over now.
Yeah. And I would say, this kind of thing, I don't even know that most people on the right have a clue about what's happening with that, why people are concerned about it. And
yeah, I think it's like a government program. Like if they're going to do it, they should do it the right way. And I don't know what that is, but like yeah, like there should be like it should be open to newspapers and churches, and I mean we could talk about that sometime, but
Yeah.
you know,
Well, and
yeah, anything that's done in secret usually does not go well.
is bad. Yes. Yes. I think most people would agree with that as long as they're talking about the other side.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So the counter to that is
Yeah.
open everything up on your side, right? And
Um,
be
there is, yeah. During after Watergate, I read an article about how after Watergate they wanted transparency, so they brought cameras in everywhere. And then what do you know? When you put a camera in front of a politician, he won't actually get any work done.
good. That's the point. I mean, like, there's a reason why this stuff doesn't work. It was intended that way because they knew how evil people are, how evil government is. Anyway, that's another topic for another day. But I would say you're hitting the nail on the head in a lot of respects, like getting actively involved, but on a local level, and loving your neighbor and getting to know people in the local political scene. There were a couple of times we talked about, trying to talk with people that are of a different persuasion, everything like, humanizing them. Can you say that you can learn something from the person on the other side of the aisle? If you can't, then you have dehumanized them so much and elevated
and
yourself.
You don't know as much as you think you do.
Yeah.
Like you were woefully ignorant.
I often look back at some of the people, like, I don't know why, maybe it's just me, a unique thing, but there are so many times where I look back at, like, I'm in the middle of something and I'll be like, oh yeah, that guy was right about this, or that person was right about that. Like, they were real terrible human beings, but man, I actually learned some stuff from them. Like, I kind of know why they were the way they were, because they weren't wrong about these things. I mean, they were still kind of crazy because all these other things.
Yeah, like this is what I experienced when I joined United Workers. Because like when I joined United Workers, I was like, okay, we're gonna fight Trump, right? We're gonna fight Trump. And then like all the people that were in there for a long time, like most of them were black people, and they were like, do you want to talk about Trump? I was like, yeah, we're gonna, okay. And then they tried to get to the deeper issues that I never even thought about. And they're like, so like if they're just talking on their own, they're not going to talk about Trump because like that doesn't, they don't really care about it's like that's not the I mean, Trump is only useful for our side if he gets somebody in, but then like you have to actually teach them like how stuff works and like what are the issues that are driving this and why is Trump so popular, and they're not willing to acknowledge his gifts as a politician and his talents and his ability to read the situation and know like what levers of power and who he can push on that's going to make the whole thing fall down and make those side look like idiots. So it's just if you can ask yourself an honest question, would I hate him this much if he was on my team?
Well, if you can't answer that question, no, like if you can't honestly answer that question, then you got no business being involved in all this. Hey, we got to wrap it up here, but I need you to say one thing before you go. I'm going to send it to you in the chat, okay? You got your chat open?
Yeah. I'm Batman.
Good.
Okay.
All right, y'all. It's been a great time chatting here. We kind of went all over the place here, but I think there was still this central idea here. You know, we got crazy stuff going on, and there are some better things that we can be doing, and we should absolutely be about those things. Let's repent, no matter what side we're on. Let's destroy that idol. Let's replace it with Jesus. Let's put Jesus back in the rightful place, the place that he belongs in our lives, number one. Let him dethrone those idols. They've got nothing on him. He died for you. He died for me. He died for the world, the sins of the world. He rose again. He's seated at God's right hand. He's ruling and reigning. He's bringing this together somehow for good. And let's just pray together. Lord, have mercy. Come, Lord Jesus. What can I do that's better than what I've been doing? So, great to be with you.
All right.
Stick around, Mike. We'll chat a bit.
All right.
But we will catch y'all later. See ya.